Hello everyone, here is Daljit Kaur, your painting teacher. I hope you all are very fine. Today we are going to start our third chapter, General Introduction of Art during Mauryan, Kushana and Gupta period. So let's start with the Mauryans. The Mauryan period is an important period in the history of art as well as architecture. The foundation for Indian art were laid, which later reached their height during the golden age of the Guptas. Guptas were that dynasty under which the art and architectural values get more expand. Ashoka, a mighty king who ruled during the 3rd century BC, was a grandson of Emperor Chandragupta, the founder of Mauryan dynasty. That cover a vast territory from Afghanistan in the northwest to South India. During his reign, the Mauryan Empire reached its peak. Ashoka experienced a change of heart after the dreadful Battle of Kalinga, where he has seen thousands lost lives and were taken into slavery. After seeing the senseless bloodshed, he adopted the Buddhist path of righteous living and decided to spread Buddha's teachings of peace and non-violence far and wide to the common people. Some of the finest examples of Mauryan art are the famous Ashoka pillars that he got built across the country. These columns are marvels of art, architecture, as well as engineering. Basically, these pillars were made out of single stone which was cut, shaped, and polished. This is a beautiful art which showing great engineering mastery that including carrying of massive blocks of stone from quarries that were hundreds of miles away. The pillar shaft were also made a single piece of stone carving, some 9 meters 30 feet in height. They had a smooth polished shine and were pointed gradually towards the top. Pillars carry Ashoka's message of unity to the Buddhist monks. They were inscribed with the Buddhist concepts of morality, humanity, and dedication, which he wished his people to follow. Famous Ashokan pillars are from Lorya Nandangarh in Bihar, Sanchi, and Sarnath. So our first slide is Loin capital from Sarnath. Medium is polished sandstone, period circa 3rd century BC, dynasty Mauryas, Ashoka. Subject matter is a sculpture of 4 lines standing back to back on a elaborate abacus, or you can say base, that includes other animals. It was adopted as the official emblem of India in 1950. Description is the Sarnath Loin capital, the crowning piece of a monolithic Ashokan pillar, was built in the 3rd century BC at the Deer Park at Sarnath. At this place, Buddha had preached his first sermon after gaining enlightenment and set the wheel of law in motion. That means Dharma Chakra Pravartan. The capital made of polished sandstone more than 2 meters, means 7 feet in height, on which The four roaring lions placed back to back on a round slab called abacus. The abacus is supported by a bell-shaped inverted lotus base. On the side of the abacus are carved four animals that are lion, elephant, bull, and horse moving in a clockwise manner. These animals carved with a great skill alternate with four smaller dharmachakras or wheel of law. The four lines on the top are highly symbolic and stylized with very little hint of naturalness. Means that four lines on the top are showing the naturalness, the natural beauty. This is clear in the name of the lines carved as little flame-shaped bunches of hair and the upper lip of the lines shown by three cut lines. Their heads are like flames, are like fire, and their upper lips showing here by three cut lines. The superb modeling gives them a power and dignity. Surprisingly, compared to the majesty of the loins, the animals on the abacus are done with a great naturalistic energy and defined carefully. The animals which were inscribed or which were carved out on the abacus are showing naturalisticness as well as energy also we can see in that animals. Petals of flowers have rhythmically cut curves and contours. Contour means continuous line. The surface of these pillars has a mirror-like finish. It also reveals the aristocratic and international nature of the Mauryan art. The pillar bears the edict of Ashoka's warning as a ruler in Brahmi script. Brahmi is a language. No one shall cause division in the order of monks. The broken pieces of the pillar are now in museum at Sarnath. The great symbolism of the greatest Buddhist virtues along with great mastery skill of sculpting of this piece of art deserved to be a national identifier of the great nation. Means this is that kind of mastery. This sculpture is shown that kind of skill of art that it deserved national identity of a great nation. Next is Chauri bearer from Didarganj. Medium is polished sandstone, time period 3rd century BC, dynasty Mauryas. Subject matter is a life-size sculpture of a Jakshi holding a Chauri. Jakshi means a fertility goddess. Description is the statue of Yakshas and Yakshis, the deity of fertility and abundance, are excellent specimens of the Mauryan craftsmanship in fashioning the human figure. This is the main theme of that time craftsmen, that figures and statues of Yakshas, Yakshis, deity of fertilities, they have made in a lot of variety, in a number of varieties. The Yakshi from Patna Museum is striking example, is the finest example, is the most important example of the 3rd century BC created by a gifted, a very unique sculptor. Didarganj Chauri bearer is named because it was founded from the Didarganj, the ancient place of Patna. in Bihar. This sculpture is a beautiful female figure sculpture carved out from a single piece of stone with 5 feet 4 inches tall. The classic life-size sculpture was carved in 5-grained buff sandstone, delicately polished to mirror-like shine. Though massive and bold in its execution due to its height, due to its life-size sculpture. This is a grand portrayal of Indian ideal of feminine beauty. Here, artist has shown the Indian feminine beauty through this sculpture. The careful attention to the detail is visible, notable. The most prominent features of this sculpture is breast, broad hips, narrow waist, and the creases on the lower abdomen, which is due to her weight of breast. The figure is wearing elaborate jewelry like in the neck, in ears, a beaded matha patti which is dividing or you can say partitioning the hair style at the forehead. There is a heavy garment below her waist draped elegantly with folds and pleats gathered in front. The pleats are neatly held in place by execute Odianum. She holds a flybix, a chauri, in her left hand, whose length falls till her foot from behind. The most remarkable feature of this sculpture is its shining polish. Is a peaceful and calm expression on her face, which impact rare and royal dignity. This is also a very proud symbol of Indian artistic skills and showing geniusness. It is also compared with the Mona Lisa of Indian art because the mysterious half smile on her lips. Next is Kushan period, in which two schools are there, Gandhara and Mathura school. The Kushan dynasty reigned over the region covering present-day Afghanistan, northwest Pakistan and northwestern India. The rise and growth of Kushana as a political power lasted from 1st century AD to 3rd century AD. Kanishka I, the third ruler of the Kushan dynasty, developed the empire to its fullest extent. He was the great follower of Buddha and Buddhist religions, so that's why the Buddhist art production received a noteworthy motivation, and Buddhist artists also get motivation here. Mathura and Gandhara were the two main centers of art during the time of Kushan. First point is expense. Gandhara school of art, called as the Greco-Roman Buddhist school, flourished in the 2nd century AD. Gandhara school is considered roughly northwestern India between the Khyber Pass and the Indus River and the region of Kabul Valley in Pakistan, Afghanistan. Works of Persian and Hellenistic influence were produced here, whereas in Mathura school was mainly northern India, where works in Indian style were produced. In Mathura school, this was totally depends on northern style of painting. Second is Buddha in human form. In Gandhara school, Gandhara and Mathura school both are the first representation of Buddha in human form. There are two types of Buddhism. First is Hinayana and second is Mahayana. In Hinayana, the making of Buddha idol in human form was totally prohibited. They represented Buddha by using symbols like Shatra, Charan Paduka, Bodhi tree to propagate to spread the preaching and his religion and his way of life. And in Mahayana Buddhism, when Kanishka came up in rule, the image of Lord Buddha in human form was created for the very first time. These statues were mostly prepared at Peshawar, Rawalpindi and Taxila. The effect of Greek art mostly seen on these images. Whereas Mathura has taken their inspiration to draw the Buddha images from Jaksha figures of Bharat and Sanchi of earlier centuries, as well as Hindu and Jain deities also began to shown in human form in Mathura schools. Third is subject matter. Gandhara school was also called as the eclectic school because it has a wide-ranging influence of Roman Hellenistic techniques. The subject matter of Gandhara art was completely Buddhist. The depicting of image of Buddha and the legends which depicted his life called Jataka tales. Jataka tales means in which Buddha's stories were narrated. Though the subject matters of these statues were totally Indian, but style of making these sculptures is Greek. Garments and ornaments are also in Greek style, whereas Mathura is an indigenous school. It has taken the continuation of old Indian art of Bharat and Sanchi. The Mathura school drew inspiration from local folk art, local deities, themes from day-to-day life like hunting, farming, fishing. Unlike Gandhara, where subjects are mainly Buddhist, in Mathura there are three type of statues. They are Buddhism, in which standing and sitting poses of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Second is Jainism, Tirthankaras, and third is Hinduism, Brahmanical deities, Jakshas and Jakshis, and god Kubers were mainly portrayed. Many portrayed statues of Kushan kings also found. Mathura art had very little influence of Greco-Roman techniques. Fourth is material. There are two phases in the development of Gandhara school. First in stone. Later on, they started in stucco. Stucco means a mixture of lime and clay. The most frequently used material by Gandhara artists were soft local It's in light or dark gray, covered with gold leaf to give them more shinier and beautiful look. In the later part, sculptures from Gandhara used stucco, which were very good as compared to stone statues. The material for making sculpture in Mathura is spotted red sandstone with white and yellow veins from quarries of Sikri. Fifth is portrayal of Buddha. Buddha in Gandhara is portrayed with the head of Greek Apollo wearing a Roman toga. All early bodhisattvas here are shown wearing turbans, jewelries, muslin skirts, a costume that was an adaptation of the actual dress of the Kushan and Indian nobles. All these are features of the dresses of the Kushan kings. More stress is given on the body features and external beauty. The faces are perfect ovals and with regular features. Eyes are almond shapes, slightly protruding with gentle arcing eyebrows. Arcing eyebrows means bowl-shaped eyebrows, straight nose, wavy hairs. Wavy hairs means curly hairs, large foreheads and ears. Large ears with holes which are showing that which are significant that he was earlier a prince. Lips are cut beautifully with a subtle smile, suggesting spiritual greatness, inner greatness. Unlike all the monks who keep their heads shaven, but Buddha as a monk was shown in unique ornamental hairstyle like a wavy curls. Sometimes he has also moustaches in few sculptures in this school. The Buddha represents calm meditation with half-closed eyes, seated in yogi positions. The postures are mainly in pure Indian styles of preaching or sermoning in Dhyan Mudra and Ave Mudra. The signs of his supernatural powers are large ears, Urna. Urna means third eye on his forehead, and Ushnisha, the bulge on his head in the form of the chignon, which means a knot or a roll of hair wrapped on Buddha's head. This knot indicates that he hears all, sees all, and knows all, means he got enlightenment, inner spiritual powers. The stretched hair indicate the heavy, rich jewelry of the Buddha wore as a prince, which I mentioned already. In Mathura, Buddha images is modeled on the lines or the earlier Jaksha images. He is surrounded by bodhisattvas. Halo around the Buddha is decorated with geometrical motifs. We see the delighted Buddha sculpted according to the Lakshanas. Lakshanas means inner qualities. He has a shaven face and is generally seated in Padmasana with the right hand in Ave Mudra, Ave Mudras to giving boons, and left on thigh. He has a muscular and energetic body in the clinging drapery. Clinging means totally joined with the legs. The typical Urna and Usnisha depict his enlightenment, his inner spiritual powers. Buddha here commands respect. More stress is given to inner beauty rather than bodily gestures and external beauty.